Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at how to add an SAQ+C to our calendar. Now we always recommend adding any exercises into the exercise database before you begin programming. And you can do this by hitting Coach Tools and then selecting exercises. But there are always times where you might be programming inside of an athlete's calendar and realize that you have an exercise that you need to add. So rather than going back to the exercise database, you can add those new exercises through the calendar itself. So in Rocky Balboa's calendar, we're going to start by adding an exercise, and then we're going to select our SAQ+C. From here, if we select the dropdown, we'll see all of the exercises for SAQ+C that we have inside of our database. But if we wanted to add something new, we can do so by typing in a new exercise name. It's important to note with the SAQ+C that you want to be specific in what you want the athlete to complete. So if you want them to complete a half-mile run versus a 1-mile run, you're going to want to include that in the exercise name. So the exercise that we're going to add is a row for distance, and we're going to start with a 1,000-meter row. We'll then hit the Add button to add that exercise, and we'll see that it will automatically save to the database. From there, we can add in the primary user input. So we're going to select time for the athlete to be able to track how much time it takes them to complete this exercise. We can then select this button to toggle on to allow for PR tracking. So as the athlete inputs their data, it will then appear in their maxes and PRs list. From there, we can continue to add a description for the exercise itself. So we might want to say, as fast as possible as a little note for the athlete. And then we can begin building out the different details for the workout itself. So we can select how many sets we want them to do. For this, we'll say we want to keep it at 1 set. We can select the number of reps. We can say 1 since we want them to complete this 1 time, or we can leave the reps blank. If we had multiple reps, we could add in a rest period for a time for them to rest between each rep. We can also include an intensity, so that way we can tell them that we want to maintain a certain heart rate level, an RPE, a percentage, etc. Another way that we can add an SAQ+C is by adding in something that already exists. So if we want to take a look at sprints, we can then add sprints to our workout. We can see that the primary input is set to yards. So let's say we want our athletes to do 3 sets and we want them to complete 5. So they are now going to do 5 reps for 3 sets. We can select the rest rep. So let's say we want them to rest for 30 seconds between each rep. Again, we can select an intensity that we want them to stay at, and we can also select a prescribed value. So for this prescribed value in here, we can now put if we want them to sprint for 10 yards in the first set, 20 in the second set, and 30 in the third set. Moving down here, again, we can select the exercise grouping for our superset, and we can also select the rest time for them in between the sets themselves. A new feature that we have for our SAQ+C is now the ability to edit the description box for an exercise. So if we go back into our Add exercise and we're going to select the bike, ski, row, run interval. We can select the number of sets, again, that we want our athlete to complete for this exercise. We can see that the primary input for this exercise is calories. But now we can also edit this description box. So let's say we only want them to bike, ski, and row. So we can hit edit, and from here we can put don't run. We can continue to add in the number of reps that we want them to do for this set. We can add in the time that we want them to rest in between each rep. We can again add in intensity if we want, as well as our prescribed values. From there, again, we can select a workout grouping, we can select a rest time between each set, and add it to the workout. Now, let's say we've changed our mind, we can hit this edit button right here. We can come back and we can hit revert to original, and that will disappear. It's important to note that the edit for these descriptions will only change for this calendar day, so it doesn't affect anything that's inside of the exercise database. So if you wanted to change something permanently, that would have to be done inside of the exercise database still. But from there, we'll select the checkbox, and we have our 3 exercises ready to go, and that's how you add an SAQ+C to the calendar.